Hello and welcome back to Wendy's Way. Today we are continuing our journey in fiber. I'm going to create a tutorial on my favorite, probably the Tunisian stitch that I am most familiar with because I've used it repetitively. I haven't done much Tunisian crochet, although I love it and it's beautiful and it looks more like knitting than crochet. And I use it primarily to make dishcloths. This is the Tunisian crochet simple stitch in a dishcloth. It's just a peaches and cream variegated cotton, and that works best for dishcloths. The thing about Tunisian is you never turn your work. You're going back and forth working on the front side, kind of like when you crochet in the round. The right side is always out, but when it's Tunisian crochet and you're going back and forth and it's not in the round, then the back side looks like this. Very different from the front side. And when it comes to dish rags, I think a very positive thing. Both sides have some scrub value. This one I think even better because it's nubby. It has nubblies on it. And I've often thought of using a scrubby yarn and maybe making two dishcloths, one of regular cotton and one of the scrubby yarn, and then stitching them together back to back. And then you'd have one of those fancy dish rags like I have found at the thrift store where it's soft on one side and scratchy on the other. Thought that would be a good idea. But see, Tunisian crochet, it looks like knitting. You don't see the separation of the stitches like you do in regular crochet. So if you want to join me, I'll tell you one more thing before I turn the camera around on the work in front of me and show you what I'm doing. When it comes to Tunisian crochet, you're not making one stitch at a time. You're loading your entire work on your hook, going right to left, and then you're pulling your entire work off your hook, going left to right. So it requires a hook where the stitches won't fall off the end. And when you're making something larger than a dish rag, there are Tunisian crochet hooks made specifically for that. I wasn't clever enough to put one on the table and show you. It basically is like your standard crochet hook, only it's long and it has a stopper on the end of it, like a cap that prevents the stitches from falling off the end of the hook, making bigger blankets that need something more than just a long crochet hook. They also make Tunisian crochet hooks that have a plastic cording or tube that hangs off the tail. It's attached to the hook here and it hangs off the tail multiple lengths with a stopper on the end to keep the stitches from falling off. I have lots of those. I actually did make a baby blanket in the Tunisian crochet simple stitch, and it worked great. It worked up fast. It was easy. It was, oh, I do like Tunisian because it looks like knitting and it gives you a lighter texture, a softer, more even texture. You can use the same weight of yarn and it won't be a see-through stitch. It appears thick, even though it's the same weight of yarn. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but most crochet things that we make are, you know, a bit see-through because the stitches are individual. But Tunisian is not. So I'm just going to use this standard little crochet hook that I've used to tears. You can tell the paint is wearing off the back of this one. This one in the size bigger, the paint's wearing off the back because I've used them for so long. My favorite Susan Bates crochet hooks. And I just put a little rubber band on the end of it to use it for dishcloths. So I'm going to turn the camera around now and show you my Tunisian crochet simple stitch. All right, it's been a long time since I've used this camera, so let's see if I can do it right on the first try today. I'm going to be working with some standard Peaches and Cream cotton yarn that I picked up at Wally World. I'm going to work a swatch in the Tunisian crochet simple stitch. I'm going to start by making a slip knot. Bring it down here. Okay. I'm just going to use a standard crochet hook with a rubber band on the end for a stopper. This one is 6.5 millimeters. My favorite Susan Bates. I love Susan Bates. I've worn the paint off of this one too, like that blue one I showed you earlier. I've used it so long, so many years. I'm just going to make a swatch. I'm going to crochet, oh, I don't know, maybe 20. Chain 20, I mean. 6, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And there I've just simply chained 20 in my cotton. Now, as I do with everything I start, when I do the base row, I go in the back of the chain instead of the front of the chain. In the front of the chain, you're going in the middle of these loops. In the back of the chain, you're going under the loop that sticks up. So I am going to, if I can remember correctly how to get started, it's been so long. I'm going to go under the second loop, the second chain from the hook, slide under it. Okay, yarn over, pull through, and leave it on the hook. I'm going to go all the way across, doing the exact same thing. Go under every chain. Should have chained more loosely. Yarn over, pull through, leave it on the hook. Right to left, left to right. Okay. I might have even... I'm better grabbing a bigger hook yet. Okay. You can see the bumps sticking up on the back of each chain. May not be as easy on the first row, but you put your hook under that loop, yarn over, pull through, leave it on the hook. And they're going to build up and they're going to sit on the hook all the way to the other end. Under, yarn over, pull through, under, yarn over, pull through. This is the only time when I use the overhand method to hold my hook. Every other thing, when I'm doing individually, I hold it like a pencil. Okay, under, yarn over, pull through. I'm just going to keep walking it over in case you're, whoopsie, got too much of it there. In case you're doing it with me and, you know, it's the first time you've gone through the back loop on a chain, it takes a little getting used to. It's not something that is always easy. And there is one secret that you can use to make it simpler, to get your hook under that back loop. Whoopsie. And she says make it simpler when she doesn't make it look easy at all. And that is to make your chain with a larger hook and then switch to a smaller hook to make the rest of the pattern. This is ridiculous. Alright, I should have done that myself, shouldn't I? For some reason today, the yarn is fighting me. I didn't get the entire strand on there, it split. Yeah, I look like somebody who ought to be teaching you how to do it. You know, nobody's perfect. If they tell you they are mistaken. Okay, we're still lining them up here. We're going to go all the way to the end. Right to left, left to right. It's the name of Tunisian crochet. Under the back loop, yarn over, pull through, and leave it on the hook. Do it again. All the way to the end. We're almost there. We're almost there. Might be able to hear that train in the background. You know, when you move to a place that's near a railroad track, you hear it for a while, and then after a while, you really don't notice so much. It just kind of becomes white noise. Alrighty, I have one more to get under. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. There. Pull it up. Get under that stinker. Okay. Now, I have all of my stitches on the hook. And on this row and on every row, we will start by yarn over and pull through just one loop on the hook. And then all the way back on the Tunisian simple stitch, you pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. And you know, I keep pushing them toward the hook in between. Yarn over, pull through 2. Because you don't want them to be too far away. It'll stretch it out and make it hard to do. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. You know, and you'll find yourself, well, I find myself pulling this yarn over with my other hand. It's just a natural move for me, having done it so long. I hang on to it here with Tunisian and here with everything. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2, all the way to the other end. 2 and 2, 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, and here you are. We have made one row of our Tunisian simple stitch. All right, now we're pretty much going to repeat the process that we just did, right to left, but we're going to skip this outside one. We're always going to skip this outside first one. That's part of this. And instead of going under the back loop, or in between, we're going to go under this, the front half of this. You see them all standing up here in a row. Go under the front half, yarn over, pull through, leave it on the hook, all the way across. Next one, you see the vertical, get underneath it, just one, yarn over, pull through. Next, under, over, and through. You know, and it helps to keep them the same size. You know, if you tug it up a little bit, you don't want to be too tight. If you're real tight about it, in this Tunisian crochet, it will curl up on you, something fierce. You do have to learn in Tunisian something that's very difficult for me, and that is lose tension. Okay, under, yarn over, pull through. We're stacking them up just like we did on the last row, only this row's easier because they're right there looking at you. And I keep my hands are always going. I keep my finger on the top here because sometimes, you know, when you're reaching, it might slide off the hook if you don't hang on to it. At least that's my experience. And I kind of keep my thumb here so I can meet the hook with my thumbnail. And I know that it's just gone under the one layer that I want it to go under. You know, because there's a stitch in the front and a stitch in the back. And you just want to go under the front one. So, under, yarn over, pull through. Leave it there. I have a knot in my yarn, but I'm just doing a swatch, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. Under, yarn over, pull through. 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 And these can get wadded out, these can get stretched out, these will twist around your, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just, you know, try and keep them together. Try and not get them too far from the end of the hook, you know, so that it stretches and it makes it hard to access the next stitch. Hang on to them so they don't fall off. Under, yarn over, pull through. Under, yarn over, pull through. Under, yarn over, pull through. And then in the last one, there really isn't a stitch to go under. So in the very last one, you go as if you're making a regular crochet stitch. You go inside the stitch, under these two, grab it. Pull it through. Okay, then yarn over, under just one at the beginning. That acts like a chain one. Now it's giving you your height for the next row. It's like when you're doing a double crochet, for instance, and you get to the end, and before you turn around, you'll chain 3, and then you'll turn and start back, and that acts as the first double crochet in the next row. It gives you your height. So when you're doing Tunisian crochet, before you head back the other way, you go under just one, and that's the equivalent of a chain 1. And it gives you your height. Then you just start yarning over and pulling under 2 all the way back to the other end. She says, let me get it in front of the camera. Yarn over, pull through 2, 2, 2, slide it up there, 2, 2, 2, 2. You'll get fast at it. 2. Once you practice it a while, oh, I can knock out dish rags like nobody's business. Sometimes, if I'm feeling inspired. Every now and then your hands get tired and you just don't want to look at it anymore, but alright, now we have 2 rows. And it's starting to come together and look like that dish rag I showed you. I'll go through the next row, and then it'll look a little more. Okay, remember, leave the first vertical. It's still looped around. It's still connected to the one that's on your hook. So you don't want to fiddle with that one. You go under the second one. Okay? Just the front. Yarn over, pull it up. And the next one. Yarn over, pull it up. And, if you forget which one, you can see that it kind of makes a straight line with the one that I've just gone under. So then the next one to go is still free of it over here. So, alright, I'm going to scoot through to the other end and scoot back, show you what it looks like, and that should do it. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments or go to the Wendy's Way Facebook page. Oopsie, I can see I missed a strand of that. Let me get under it. There we go. Go to the Wendy's Way Facebook page and leave me a message or leave a comment on this video. Or you can even email me at Wendy's Way channel at gmail.com. Under that vertical, and then through the stitch on the end. I can show you where it sits. Get my thumbnail in there and open it up a little bit. Okay. See? You're going under the 2. Here. Under the 2. Pull through. You've got it all on there. Now you're going to do your chain 1 for height. Just over, pull through 1. Now you got your height. Now you just rip snort back down to the other end. Over and 2, 2, 2, 2. Slide it down. 2, 2, 2. Whoopsie. And be careful. And pull yarn loose from your cone so you don't tip it over. 2. All right. This is our little swatch. It's beginning to look like a dish rag. I can see that oh, that's the knot that was in my yarn. That's why that shows there. But as you can see, it's starting to get nice and dense, but it's still soft and pliable. And on the back side, it's forming your nubblies. Nubble, they make really good scrubbers on the back of a dishcloth. Now, the dishcloths that I've been making in all different colors, I really like this color combo. Sometimes I'll put a border around them. Sometimes I won't. It makes them stay. Oh yes, I almost forgot. To make the ends match, so that after you finish a row, you don't have a loose end here, you know, tall and empty. You slip stitch back. Oh, let's see if I can show that. I almost forgot. Let me get back in here. I had almost forgot that the way you know, on the bottom, I went through the back loop of the row, so you see a finished edge. You see the loops that you would have gone through, the V's. They show when you go through the back loop. That way you've got a finished edge and you don't have to border it if you don't want to. But on the top, okay, now that I've got my reminder, yep, teacher, teach thyself. Sometimes we forget if we haven't done something in a while. We are going to finish off the top row of our Tunisian simple stitch because it's wide open and loose, and we want it to be finished and taut like the bottom row. We want it to be closed and have a nice finish. So what we're going to do is slip stitch right to left. Just like on every other row, we're going to skip the first. It's still attached to the loop. We're going to go under the second, yarn over, pull through one, and through the back one. So only one stitch remains on the hook. Go on to the next one, yarn over, pull through one and the other. So only one stitch remains on the hook. And we're going to do this all the way across. Under, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. Under, yarn over, pull through that one and that one. Slip stitch. Under, yarn over, pull through that one, pull through that one. Under, yarn over, pull through that one and that one. I'm going to continue on till I get to the end with my slip stitch, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Because you just don't want a big loose floppy end hanging out here that looks unfinished. And this way, if you don't want to, you don't need to put a border on it. And your finish will be the same top and bottom if you started off in the back loop. And as throughout the whole thing, you want to try and keep your tension loose. Otherwise they'll roll up on you. I find myself stretching things, especially cotton. And I know that a lot of people, especially those who make a lot of garments, got this poofy corner here, I have to figure that one out. Those who make a lot of garments, they block their work, and I've never done that before. But basically, blocking your work is a matter of laying it out exactly the way you want it to look, with everything even and, you know, looking as good as it can look flat. Pinning it down and then spraying it with water and just allowing it to dry. And I suppose you could use a light spray starch or something like it, if it's a doily or something, but somehow just laying something out straight, pinning it, getting it wet and letting it dry in that position helps it hold that shape and that form, especially, if it's something other than a garment that's not going to be washed often. Makes it look real nice. Okay, and the last one we're going to go in as we always did, underneath those two. Pull it through, and ta-da! Now your Tunisian simple stitch is finished. You would just cut the yarn off, sew the tails in. Now the top is not loose and floppy. It looks just like the bottom. These dishcloths, see, this one's a little curly, and Tunisian will get that way. Tunisian will get curly on you, especially if you're not paying attention and your tension gets uneven. Tension. See, this one has a slip stitch top and bottom. To make a dish rag that, for me anyway, averages 9 inches by 9 inches square, I use a 6.5 millimeter hook, and I chain 32. But that's me. And like I said, you can use any size hook you wish. You can use any yarn you wish. And, find your own gauge. Find your own size. Doesn't matter how many chains for a Tunisian simple stitch, it'll work. Okay. I thank you so much for joining me again today on Wendy's Way in our journey in fiber. I pray that the good Lord who blesses me each and every day of my life will bless you as well, today and always. Amen.